creates the audience.
All right. Welcome back to Selling Frankston, your go-to podcast for all things in the Frankston and Frankston South property market. My name's Josh Merchant. This is my dad. What is your name, Dad?
My name is Wah Merchant. Thanks, Josh.
It feels weird. I always, buyers will always say, "Oh, is this your brother?" And it's like,
I reckon they're waxing you really well, or they're actually waxing me. They're waxing me saying, are you your brother? And I'm like, you're a good person.
Flatters your ego.
Flatters the ego.
The amount of times I hear it, I reckon it's there's repetition in any line of work that you go through.
Yep.
I think that's probably the biggest, aside from making calls. But even then, when I make the calls, is Juan your brother? No, he's dad. Yep. So it feels weird saying it. But
fair enough.
That aside, guys, why is Price Guide the most powerful tool when it comes to selling? There's a lot of misconception out there. They think, everyone thinks it could be the photos, it could be the ad copy, it could be the floor plan. More often than not, Dad, in your 25 years of selling real estate, how often would you say it comes down to the price?
I can tell you now, marketing creates attention. The Price Guide creates the audience. And what I mean by that, Josh,
that's a great point.
It basically, you can do the best marketing. We've seen it like around here. You've got, TV production crew sets, etc., doing their videos, $20,000, $30,000 budgets. But if that Price Guide is so out of whack, mate, you'll get crickets.
You could have clicked it.
Yeah, you get crickets. And we see that often. So, we have a lot of people that will say, look, we're wanting to maximize our best result. And marketing, without question, presenting the home to the best of your ability, that takes time, money, effort. It's blood, sweat and tears. So you do not want to get your Price Guide out of alignment, because if you're not in alignment with the market and you could present it the best way and your price it way too, you could actually, as close as, even if you're 5% above where the market is, you'll struggle to get an audience on that first day. And what that sets to the marketplace right there and then, there's no interest. There's not a lot of competition.
I see that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of agents I've been seeing on socials especially are talking about the same topic too. They're saying, look, it's not necessarily that it's just, advertising plays a big part. You've got the advertising is the attention tool, right? It's going to get the people viewing it. The Price Guide is actually, it's no different to when you look at your stores. If you've got your Gucci stores, you've got all these things, that there's going to be a Price Guide associated. Not everyone can afford it, but you actually need to get the people in. And it is that old adage where if you get the competition in, it's not about starting low. Yeah. I think that's where people, I guess, think that, oh my goodness, if we're starting too low, are we going to ever achieve the price? Well, the market is going to decide that. If you have an agent that comes in and gives you a wishful thinking price, you can't just go off hope.
I think that's it's such a very valid point, Josh, because we're hopeful at the best of time. Like you'll see, if you speak to a lot of our owners, we actually will say, look, we believe you'll be here, but you're limitless in where you can actually go to. We never want to distinguish hope, but at the same time, you have to be realistic with the Price Guide. And if you're not, you will create silence, which then in turns create no negotiation, and the power is on the buyer side. So you'll have to be coming down at a rate of knots to meet the market, or like we've met a few people recently just in the next suburb over, and they've been on the market for 12 months. And I'm like, so you've dropped your price by over $500,000. Who was the custodian of the price when you first advertised? Oh, we had a couple of agents say that. Okay. And this is a key takeaway. And you've heard me say this, Josh. When an agent comes in, they just want to secure your listing. A lot of the times it's like they have to get a listing to stay in the job. Okay. So I remember when I first started, it was like, how many listings you got? You got to get 4 a month. If you don't, we're not going to be, you're on the chopping block. And there's a lot of pressure that comes with it. When you have agents that are over-promising and overpricing, that can create bad energy and juju for the owner. And more importantly, time is money. So, we've seen it time and time again that they'll overprice. But I've said to a couple of people just outside of the where we work, they've said, well, look, we've had a couple of different prices varying from here to here. And I said, well, look, best way to get your agents to tell the truth is say, we are going to auction. We need to set a reserve where we're going to be able to create good competition. Where do you think our reserve should be from day one? I don't want to hear, yes, you've quoted, 1.2. If you think, if we were to go to auction, where's the best advertised price? We've had agents then come back and go, look, we thought it was like 115 to 125. But if you would go to auction, set of a reserve sort of around that 950 mark. Now, let me tell you, that agent right there has told you an inflated price just to win your business.
Yeah.
Now, they've retracked because they've gone, oh, hang on, you now want to go to auction. Okay. They don't want to pay an auctioneer to come down, and it could be, head of franchise or whatever. They come down, call the auction, and there's crickets. They want to make sure it's a spectacle. It's a great show. Yes, and that's what it's about. So, sometimes agents won't be right down the line. If anything, there's more agents overpricing right now because there's scarcity of stock.
Should sellers be asking the question then, what is your pricing strategy versus how much can you get? Because I think,
Josh, that line you've just said is 100% there. We could go into every listing. Guys, what would you like? We think you can get 5 million.
Yeah,
we could list every single home.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Now, we don't. We actually aren't collectors. We don't have a museum where we just collect stock and it just turns to dust. We actually want the phones calling in. We want to be engaging with people. We actually want to be able to facilitate transactions between a seller and a buyer and meet, in the middle somewhere and get, real estate matrimony in the sense we provide a buyer and a seller and they come together. Now, when you have a price, we're hoping to hear what you got to say, and we'll just pluck a figure out. And they don't have a strategy behind their whole selling process. You're gonna find it hard.
You're gonna be in a world of
pain.
Well, it's time on the market too.
Yeah,
that's another factor too that you got to think about is buyers, regardless if you change agents or not. The first time that agent launches it online, within the first 2 weeks, it is a lot of data that tells you whether or not you're cooking.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, and those key insights, Josh, and you can run it through. There's some key indicator drivers.
Yeah, I think your foot. Initially your listing views.
Yep.
You should. There's
listing views online would be
on realestate.com, domain.com.
Yep.
All those, all your platforms. You want to be hitting a certain benchmark.
Yep.
If you're not, then you've got to look at what's wrong. With it. It could be that there's other properties that are positioned a little bit better. There could be a few that have just come on that might be taking more of the focus. You can't control those things, but you do have to look before you launch. If you've got a good agent who's caring about your pricing strategy, they should be looking at what's on the market, what's currently just sold, and positioning yours to be get the most attention. Because at the end of the day, the more attention you get, the more people come through your house. And if you're getting certain numbers coming through on your second opens, then hey, we've got some serious interest.
Yep.
Now, that actually leads me to another question. Obviously, you can have some properties that have fantastic numbers. So you might have 30, you do your first inspection, you do your grand opening, you get everything ready. You might get 20 people walk through the door.
Yep.
Of a few might be neighbours. What's your key tell to know whether or not of those 20 people, you've got some serious interest in that home?
Generally speaking, we can ascertain who the owners are, or sorry, I should say who the buyers are from the neighbours that are coming through. Key indicators that we know that we're cooking with gas, we're a campaign, is we look under the hood. So the analytics of all
I'm just talking about, say I've got those 20 buyers. So I've had 20 buyers.
At the opens, the key takeaway that we know that we're cooking is can we get a copy of the contract in Section 32?
Yeah.
That's number one. Secondly is, they open if it's and we sell probably three quarters of our
35% of our properties are sold privately.
So what's that? Sorry,
65% are auction, 35% private.
So 65% of the time, hey, if we've got a really good strong auction,
we can tell who the data person is over here.
I'll just list and sell. And but I thought it was
though.
Actually our private sales are actually lifted a little bit, but that's understandable. But if it's sorry to cut you short. We were more auction dominant last year.
And then I think, a fair few properties have trickled through. It is also personal preference too and motivation.
Absolutely. You've got clients that will say, "One, look, what do you think? Should we auction it?" And I'm like, "No, it's a private sale property. I think it's best to do that."
Yeah.
If we think it's great interest and we can convert it to an auction, hey, we can. I'm an auctioneer. I don't have to. If we've started the campaign, generally speaking, most auctioneers are already booked out. But we can convert it very quickly and flip it and do that. And
back to the conversation. So if you've got 20 groups come through, you're qualifying buyers, and it's a really good thing, the contract in the Section 32.
Yep. So first one, contracts Section 32. Second one, will they accept offers before the auction? 3, settlement time. They're already talking settlement. What are the owners looking at? Blah, blah, blah. So we get a good gauge on that. And then we also ask the question, okay, so you're looking at buying, what sort of price range what sort of price and level are you at? And can you activate now? We also ask the question, have you made offers on other properties? Because that tells us whether they're first timers, and if you need
serious.
to, or if they're serious. If they've made offers and missed out, we know that, okay, we've seen people we've dealt with at auctions and we've got them from another property and sold them another one.
It's a really handy thing because as soon as you know, and not only that, if they've made an offer on another property, what was that property? You go online, you look it up, you research it, you find out what it is.
What
and then you go, what it sold for, where, what did they pay? Were they close to getting it? If they've just missed out, and the old adage is, and a lot of people do say this when you talk to them on the phone, we should have just paid that extra 5 or 10K.
Yeah.
We wish we had done it. It was the house we wanted. But I always say what's meant to be is meant to be.
Correct.
And that is you can't change those things. But I do think it's important if you are looking to buy, reach out to a lot of the agents in the area.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums up everything with that. Is there anything else that you really? Because I think
I do want to touch on something. The the temptation of testing the market.
Yeah, that's a good point.
For a high price. I think as soon as you engage an agent to sell your home, look, they're going to try and get you the absolute best price. There's a real key thing to take away when you are selling for the first time. We have an authority where it will stipulate what your reserve is. Now, if you put that price in, so if you say I want 1.5 million, we can't quote 1.3 to 1.4 or 1.4 to 1.5. You actually have to say, hey, the sell price, we got permission to sell at 1.5. All right. So we have a lot of clients that when we are listing their property, in the reserve box, we always have to be advised, and that's based on the market. So we can say, look, comfortably, this is the range. Now, if an owner's saying we want 1.5, well, then we aren't going to be quoting. We're going to be within. We'll be quoting like 145 to 155, and we'll be very clear inside that range. In the middle, you've got it. Now we'll know very quickly whether we're cooking with gas or not. Now, if we're not, we could have been pushing it out to the data. Then other buyers are talking about it. Sometimes that's quite dangerous because when you do actually go on market and go worldwide, you've already, unless you put it at a really realistic price. I think when you go on the market, don't go soft, go hard. Does that make sense?
The moral of the story is you actually want the marketing, we all know, is just to get the attention.
It's
get
a
the
billboard.
people looking.
It's a billboard.
It's a billboard.
Yep.
The pricing is what's going to get the people in. And if you get them emotionally invested, once they're in the property, they love it, then they're going to compete for it.
Yep.
And that's where your competition drives the price up.
Yep.
You were talking,
it's like and Josh, to add on to that, it's a bit like a plane. Like, you just said that about a billboard. It's like, but the exit ramp, if you don't have that price guide right, as a plane, you'll shoot off. And you've got Moomba, you'll shoot off the ramp and fly. If you have that exit ramp incorrectly priced, you're going to sink it. You're going to sink, and you're actually now going to come down. So it's all about the accesses and so forth. But I mean, look, we see that often, don't we?
A lot.
Yep.
I do think that there is. I think it's something to be said, though. I think every owner out there does get it. They fall into that temptation trap of the hope and that confidence that an agent can bring. Hey, and that's what we're taught to do.
Yeah.
Essentially, we've got to make people feel good. You got to think about it. If we're on your property and we're pushing buyers through and we're just like, they're not going to want to buy it. They're not going to, even if they love the house, they're going to be like, gee. And if this agent, we were talking about this the other day, if you've got a private sale campaign and the agent's hard to get a hold of, they're not taking any calls, they want to sell it to, old mate because they've got a motivation, they can pick and choose. The great thing about auctions, it's the most transparent way of
Transparent,
buying,
yep.
and you don't get to choose who
Yep.
buys the property. You let the best price buy it on the day.
Yep.
I think that's super important. And with the time on the market at the moment, you've got Frankston is getting sold within 17 days. So it's
Yep.
2.5 weeks. You're going to be knowing if you're going to
Yeah.
the market, you're going to know very quickly if your property is
Very
cooking
true.
or not. And then you got Frankston South at 28 days. As I said earlier, and one thing I'm going to reiterate is please, for every seller out there, ask the agent, what is your selling strategy or what is your pricing strategy? Is it a better question than how much do you think my home is worth?
And if they can't provide you with a strategy with regards to the strategic way of, how REA does the the pricing guides, etc., and they're just on a whim and hoping for a Hail Mary price, well, you'll need to pivot pretty quickly if you've gone to market and you've overshot it, because low numbers through opens means, no traffic, it's a silent campaign. All of a sudden, it's doomsday. You're going to have to pivot like at basketball and go, okay, we right now we're trying to have shots from the back court. We need to get inside the key and be able to lay it up. So, yeah.
Brings us to game day. Saturday's
day.
game day. We had 17 groups through 3 home opens, which was, in my opinion, pretty good numbers. What do you think?
Look, really good. Interesting. We had, like a couple of soft opens to start off with because those buyers couldn't make it this week. But, we've got some really good numbers out there. There was a lot of buyers looking either moving into the area, upsizing, but there's also people downsizing. We met buyers that were looking to downsize, and they're over in sort of that Mount Eliza, Mount Martha area.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
And
good.
the hot property of the week was 6418 Nepean Highway.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people
Yeah.
come through. Beautiful Hampton-style home. Check it out. It's the iconic one on the
We
corner
had,
there.
We had 2 second inspections and a third inspection. So goes to show that there's a bit of activity in the marketplace still.
Well, it shows when you go to auction.
And we sold Queen Street last week.
Yeah,
went
Queen
to
Street
auction.
went
Yeah.
to. Did we mention that or no? 'Cause
No, we
hadn't-
didn't. We'll get to that. I'll touch on
Yeah,
that. But
and it was a good last day of summer. That
Yeah,
the
it was.
The other thing that I wanted to.
And you had a private viewing also at.
Yeah, Robinson's Road.
Yep.
Yep. Which look, they liked it. We'll
Yep.
wait and see what transpires from that. I
And
mean,
we had a couple of appraisals as well.
on
Saturday.
Yeah, we did too.
Yep.
It was a very good day. Now looking ahead, we have a lot of new properties hitting the market.
We've
just hit 4 and 6 Brilliante circuit in Langwarrin. There's 2 land lots out there. You got an 800 square meter block and a 980 square meter block. They do get city views. They get beautiful views. Very nature orientated sort of property out there in that estate. So they're they're hot property at the minute.
They are certainly hot property. We got 3 Spring Street and 11B Catherine Parade, both launched yesterday. 11B Catherine Parade, it's a stunning 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, double car garage with the external entry. It is high spec home. As they say, some homes have you've got ticks for boxes for your home. This one rewrites a list. It's amazing. It's high-end builder, and we've got that going to auction on the 28th. 3 Spring Street, probably property of the week this week. We'll talk about that. We've got another one coming to market also today. Just waiting on the photos. We've got the video back. That's 2 at 80 Macomb Boulevard in Frankston South. Beautiful 2-bed, 1-bath, north-facing aspect. Got lots of natural light. Something you can get into with a car accommodation, single car garage, good sized block, and literally tucked around the corner from Norman Ave. So
it's walking distance, everything. If you love Frankston South, you're looking to downsize, and you could add a little bit of your own little style, your own taste to it. It's something that's pretty cool. The other thing, market conditions. I feel like the stock levels are pretty damn low at the moment. If you go through realestate.com,
Absolutely.
a lot of the stuff is under offer.
Yep.
There's not as many properties as there normally are sitting on the market. And we did say that January, more often than not, was that thinking month. You say that like a lot of people are away. February is sort of that action mode. But a lot of buyers are out there. They're going, hey, we can't find what we're looking for. And that shows that there is more of it's very much still a seller's market. Do we think the RBA will have any impact under the $1 million mark, which is where Frankston's sitting? I know Frankston South, anything north of, that $2 million mark will sit there for quite some time because you're trying to find a unique buyer.
Yep.
And the more you go up in price, the less buyers you find organically.
Look, I think my take and I think the interest rates certainly they're trying to put the levers on and stop investors in buying in down this way. I would say, look, there's still some real there's still a lot of investors out there still wanting to purchase. Probably not the same levels as what it was maybe 6 months ago because they've now targeted other areas that are on the growth.
Fun fact.
Yep.
So we had Mornington Peninsula has been picking up, and Frankston really led that charge.
Yep.
Now guess where they've gone? Ballerine Peninsula over to Geelong.
Yep.
So that's where they've shifted focus. They've gone, you know what? There's so many availability, and you can get 4-bed, 2 bathrooms for just over $600K.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's no different. We had that same sort of effect.
Absolutely.
But with 3-bed, 1 baths here in Frankston that were under the 700 mark, they just really took everything off.
Yeah.
They've now, a lot of those buyer pool and the investors have gone over to Geelong.
Have moved over to Geelong. But there's still people looking at, you look at, say, for example, down here on the peninsula, Hastings is still very undervalued.
Langwarren,
Crib
Somerville.
Langwarren and Somerville. Langwarren's always taken off. Somerville is the one to watch out for.
A lot of buyers, and I was speaking to a buyer's agent the other day, literally, Langwarren had been sort of not neglected. It's been doing very well because it's such an owner-occupied area compared to Frankston. But a lot of people are going, Langwarren there was so much activity, but it didn't have as much growth as what Frankston did.
Yep.
Everyone's gone, we can go to Langwarren. You're a bit more private, tucked away. Houses are a bit newer too.
Yep.
I reckon that's on the verge of another little pickup.
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, the areas where we predominantly work, I mean, we've got the 2 blocks in Langwarren. We've got another one coming up in Langwarren. We've got another one in Langwarren South. We've got one on the market in Langwarren South. So there's a lot of activity and the overflow from Frankston Frankston South into that. It's just a normal transgression. I remember having a huge, we were the first to crack over $1 million in that estate, which is Acacia Heath, which is just off McClellan Drive. Got North Road at the start there. And a lot of the buyers that couldn't buy in Frankston South, they just saw value there. So, there's always good opportunities out there.
There's great properties everywhere,
Absolutely.
Great opportunities in every given market. Depends on your circumstance. And when the market is flying, everything can sell. When the market starts to shift, strategy definitely matters. So
Absolutely.
We do think over probably that, the next year I reckon will still be pretty buoyant for the areas. I reckon will still outperform, Frankston and Frankston South. Be interesting. What do you think of the block coming into Mount Eliza? Will that have any impact, or do you reckon it's a lot of hype?
I think, look, there's no doubt the hype is great for the area. I think what's going to happen though, the homes where they're building, they're quite on top of one another. I think it's amazing what they're going to finish up, and I firmly believe they'll get really good prices. Yeah. The auction strategy is quite unique because generally speaking in Mount Eliza, they don't do auctions predominantly. So that's going to probably be, that might be a bit of a wake-up call to maybe some owners to say, look, you know what, maybe I am a little bit, bullish with my price pre-market. I think maybe more and more people might get a little bit more serious about selling. And that's what I think what's going to happen. I think as more and more stock came on, I think there was about a week and a half ago, I was speaking to an agent in Mount Martha, Mornington, and they were saying there was over just under 150 properties come on the market.
That was an owner, we were there, remember?
Yeah. And they said there was only one sale, and that was the one that we just sold after auction. But I think more to the point, I think, some owners are a bit overzealous and agents are happy to take them on. And then if the motivation is real, then the price will come down and they'll get the results.
Do we think Frankston is stealing Mornington buyers?
It's funny you say that. I actually think with the hospital going in,
and the amenities, great amenities. You've got, Cassiter Player shut in Mornington on Main Street. Yeah, you've got like Doc and you've got Grady and you've got, so many great cafes. But and Common Folk is a vibe in Frankston. You have to go Mornington in the industrial section. I just feel like Frankston's stealing a bit of mojo.
Well, it's funny. I spoke to a couple of agents that work in Mornington. They couldn't believe. They said, we actually love it when we get an investment property or someone who's on our books that we can, get a place in Frankston, because the vibe between what happens at Frankston South or Frankston versus Mornington, they're just seeing straw bales. The buyers aren't coming in like they used to. Yep, the straw, all the
Sorry,
there's crickets in the background, and that's where it's really really pivotal. And I think that comes back to pricing. And look, I'll be upfront. There's some really good agents in Mornington, and they are fantastic. They price it to sell, and they're getting good numbers. Doesn't matter where you is, but when you have agents that get a bit slack, a bit lazy, they'll just we'll put a high price on it. If you've got an agent that's got a property on their books for more than 100 days. And they've got multiple properties like that, that's alarm bells there, I would say.
Well, that tells you that they can list the home.
They can list it, they can market it, but can they sell it?
Yeah. Well, that's our average is 29 days, and that would be the only reason for that would be because we do a lot of auctions.
If we didn't do auctions, we would. If I could auction every home on the first weekend, hey, maybe
just give no one time.
Don't give anyone time. Just come through, do your due diligence.
Come through, make sure you got your finance ready.
Maybe we look at doing a 2-week auction campaigns, but you got to have the right buyers, and it doesn't matter what time of the day, where it is, blah blah blah. Buyers will turn up. Okay, I reckon if you had to do an auction for a property, we got some coming up. I reckon if we do it at 2 a.m. there'd be buyers that would turn up because they would not miss out the opportunity.
Over on the bloody other side of the world, Europe? No, I'm joking.
No, I'm just saying.
No, they would. I agree.
If you had a 2 a.m. auction time...
For those out there, should we do this? Is it a great idea?
Is that a good idea?
Can't, just don't break it off.
But I'm just saying, I reckon you would have definitely people there.
No, I do agree. I know what you're saying.
They wouldn't miss it.
We said this last week. When someone's really keen on a property, they're emotionally invested, they can see true value and they like what it is and they're confident and the agent's very confident it's going to sell, the owner's realistic. That's a pumper auction.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of people interested. It doesn't matter, like what you just said, what time, what day.
Doesn't
we do
matter.
midweek auctions and you get the serious people there. And you know what's actually great about that is you normally have the 4 or 5 bidders standing there. You don't have a big, neighbour crowd. It'll
just be straightforward. We know who the buyers are, bang. And I've done that in boardroom auctions. Where, per property, you knew, where the buyers were and then bang, off it went. And you were just dealing with those particular buyers.
Might need to talk to Frankston Park or YC about doing some internal auctions.
Maybe so.
Have a bit of fun with that sort of stuff. Yep. That brings me to, I actually just wanted to jump in. We were talking about the market conditions. I want to talk about price points because I think it's really, really prominent for people to know where it's all sitting. Between 500, and this is just within Frankston and Frankston South, $500K to $1 million. Is that hot, warm or cold?
Hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yep.
$1 million to 1.25.
I would say that's hot.
1.25 to 1.5.
Warm.
1.5 to $2 million.
Warm.
2 million plus.
Cold.
Yeah. I think too, like you said, every property can sell. If it's a premium property, everyone will go to it. If it's a great opportunity, people who are buying a 2 million plus home in Frankston South are normally going to live in it. It's not going to be an investment. It's very rare. So they're going to see if you've got a premium property that's been fully renovated or it's in original condition, but you're realistic with the price and you've got great land content, people will come after it. Doesn't matter what market.
And funny thing is, when a market, the barometer for Frankston South and when you saw the markets change was predominantly you would look over across Humphreys Road to Mount Eliza because they were the quickest to rise in COVID. They just bang went up like a firecracker, and then we all followed suit. And Frankston South always follows suit. So when Mount Eliza is so quick to go up, but they're also so quick to go down. So all of a sudden, anything sort of north of 2, there's a lot more properties.
Well, I'll ask you this: what would they choose, Frankston South or Mount Eliza?
Well, interesting enough, we used to see a lot more people just go, "No, we want Mount Eliza." You'd be trying to cross sell between Frankston South and Mount Eliza. I firmly believe now more people are looking at Frankston South than Mount Eliza. So that the pendulum swung towards. It's become a really sought after area. I'm
going to say this: when Mount Eliza, the road network is quite hard to get around when it's school traffic time, or any peak hour traffic. So I actually understand Frankston South for the reason that you've got so many road networks. Yes, around the high school and Dorinya, obviously that's going to be quite busy, but that's because people move to those areas for those reasons. Let's jump over. Merch property of the week. Oh, that worked a treat. Ooh, that was good. I didn't mean to click that one, but what is the merch property of the week?
property of the week is 3 Spring Street here in Frankston. It's right in the heart. You've got, in terms of location, literally across the road, so straight opposite, you've got Victoria Park. To the right of you, you've got the Frankston Croquet Club. Just down the street, literally 5 houses down, it backs onto Frankston Lawn Bowls Club. If you go down the street from Spring Street all the way down, you've got Beauty Park. And then basically if you go on the other corner, which is on the corner of Nolan and Spring, you go all the way down, you've got the outlook which overlooks Frankston Pier. So you've got everything on your doorstep. This is a Californian bungalow. It's a rich part of Frankston history. So this house is 96 years young. So
Nice.
3 bed, 2
Should have
bathrooms.
just called it 100 years. You should put some mail on that.
I won't, but I'd like to be exact. But 96 years young. They've done it beautifully. It's been restored. It's got the beautiful cornices. It's a corner block, 395 square meters. So you've got a carport with a roller door on it, remote control. And then at the front, you can easily park 2 cars there. But it's got a real beautiful feel about the home. And I think we got our first inspection this week, our grand opening. And it's scheduled for auction on the 28th of March. So we've got a lot of auctions scheduled for this month, and we're looking forward to it. And we'll certainly see how it's received on Saturday.
My favourite thing is the style of the home inside, the charm. It feels like a home. The cornices, the higher ceilings. You got a lot of greenery as well. Like I think it feels very, and it's low maintenance greenery. It's not
absolutely
do a heap of gardening. It's just the right size.
The garden, you got
dual
the
frontage
fence
as well, might we?
dual frontage, picket fence. So the auction's going to be I think a really good one. I think there's going to be a lot of parties that are going to be very interested, just because of the location. Franks, you got the Peninsula University Hospital just around the corner as well. A lot of nurses and doctors probably looking at potentially looking at that. We're getting a lot more people that are affluent. Coming down. So that's a real positive, that's a real property of the week, that one.
Awesome. Now we're playing. Oh, that was the wrong one.
What was that?
It was meant to be that one. Now we're doing the game segment. I need to put some, you know what I need to do next time? I need to put some fun, like a fun game sort of mode so we can play a little bit. So what we're going to do, I've done little bit of a game. You're going to guess the sale price. There's 3 different properties.
Wow, this is going to be hard.
Now, they're not in this state.
Okay.
So I've got one in Perth, I've got one in Brisbane, and I've got one in... Where did I put the other one? I'll bring it up. Well, let's just start with the Perth property. I'm going to give you the iPad. The iPad has the photos.
All right.
So I'll tell you a little bit about the property whilst you go through. Okay. I'll start. You can go through the floor plan. Have a look there. So first up is the Perth home. It's 132 Richmond Street, Leaderville. I don't want you to click off it. Just press the button there.
Yep.
Oh, what's happened here? You've stuffed it. Oh, he's just clicked off it.
Oh, I haven't.
He's seen the price.
I haven't even
hard.
seen it.
How hard is it to click the buttons across? Isn't that a hard thing?
I didn't.
He's deliberately done it.
No,
so this is a renovated.
I haven't looked at the price.
Yep. Tell me.
Okay, renovated. So it's
if
got.
your guess is perfect, we know he's hacked.
No, I haven't.
Stop zooming in.
No, I'm zooming it. So you got upstairs. So it's 4 beds and a study. Gazebo.
3 bathroom, character home, 443 square meter block.
Wow.
You're 3 kilometers from the CBD. Leaderville is a very desirable location. What were we going to say?
And that's in Perth, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is in Perth.
I'd have to say it's around one.
Go through the images. You need to see the actual home. It's a beautiful. You got weatherboard. It's got so much charm. It's fully renovated, fully done.
Oh, that's
central location.
I love the pool.
Yeah,
you know what's interesting? They don't have on their floor plan the orientation of where the sun sits, because sometimes that's really important. If you're selling a property and you've got a south orientation, you've got a pool at the backyard, you're not going to get too much.
Maybe that's why they didn't do it.
Maybe they didn't do that. But I love the pools, the lagoon. Certainly needs a bit of work.
It's fully renovated.
I wouldn't say it's fully renovated.
Okay. All right.
The bathrooms, yes, but the kitchen, no.
All right. What do you think it's worth? This was sold in February this year.
1.3 maybe? I don't know.
2.325.
What?
That's
actually Perth, yeah, you're right. I don't know where Leaderville is.
No, but let's be real here. You look at that and you're like Like it's nice.
That's nice. Well, look, I don't
Nah,
know.
look, that is renovated. I know you don't think it is, but it's a style.
Let's go to the next one.
All right. Well, that was a shocking example.
Yeah, that's a terrible
All
example.
right. Here's the next
I
one.
thought
This
you were
is
showing
in-
me some.
This is in West End, Brisbane. No, we're not going to guess properties
Okay,
in our
West End,
local
Brisbane.
area. It doesn't make
So
any
this
sense. Nothing
is
fun about that.
Dining area, balcony.
You got 29 Devonshire Street in West End. For those, look it up. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath, smaller block, 360 square meters. West End is right on the city fringe, and it's less than 2 kilometers out from Brisbane. It's right in the heart of Brizzy. Like it is. You can't
I'd say that would have to be around 2 mil.
That was a good guess. 2.1 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like Perth is a hard market to gauge because Perth is hit and miss. All right, now,
anything on the fringes of Brisbane.
I'm going to give you some context. I've tried to find the closest properties to the main capitals.
Okay,
so they're
yep.
as close as
Sure.
they can be.
Yep.
Here's the next one. This one is 619 Burke Street, Surrey Hills. Beautiful. You can only imagine what this one is. It is fully done. This is simply luxury living, 4-bed, 4-bath, tight 166 square meter, but it's that
Small
beautiful
frontage, yeah.
terrace
Wow.
style. If you go into the city of
Yep.
Melbourne, it's that, that beautiful style where they're built together, but they are absolutely stunning. It is 1.5 kilometers out from the CBD of Sydney. What would a luxury property like that?
I would say
Just
that
keep
would have
looking.
to be.
Just take some time.
I love the.
Stew it over.
I love the fact that you've got the dual access.
That's
But
rare.
It's very rare, but I love the finishings off that.
Beautiful home.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think
Yeah.
that would go? That like if you had that in
Single
the city,
front. If you had that in the city, I'd have to say that'd be around 4.5.
you were close. 5.8.
Well, yeah.
You were only $1.3 million
I was
off.
off,
Only
yeah.
the median
Only
value of
1.3.
Frankston South.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, that looked. I know, and it's interesting. We see a lot of buyers that come from other areas, and when they're coming to us, they just go, "Wow! Like if you had this in Sydney or this in Brisbane, this is what it's going for," and that's why, you've got to have if you put too high a price on a property, it doesn't see value. The buyers don't see value. Versus, it's an interesting one. I mean, those ones in Surrey Hill. I mean, anything in Surrey Hill.
there's some seriously premium homes
Yeah,
where I've gone for properties that were 4-bed minimum,
Yep.
2-bath minimum. I did ask for 600 square meters, but I do realize if that had have
Very
happened
hard
with
to find
Sydney, we would have been talking 20,
10, 15 mil.
10, yeah, probably.
Yep.
Which is just a
With
silly,
no views, yeah.
yeah. And you look at what you get here. Frankston's its own little city. It's its own little hub. That is really the reality we're in. We call it Frankston CBD for a reason.
And that's why, look, if you look at if you look at the paperwork that the councils have, Geelong's really, they've gallivanted. They've really, they're now getting the Spirit of Tasmania docking in their dock. It doesn't dock now in. I think it used to be in St Kilda.
Yeah, it
They
was
used
in
to have
St Kilda.
Now you've got to go to Geelong to there. Now people on cruises. I remember my daughter. She works for a fantastic company. They got an opportunity. Her boss actually said, "You're doing such a good job. Here's a 3-day cruise starting. I think it was in Sydney, and they go all the way down to Tassie, and then they come back and this was 5-star. To go for 3 days, I think per person was about 10 grand each."
Jeez.
And you had your own butler. You had, so my wife went on there, and it was amazing. But she was there. There was all these Americans, and they're going, Geelong, we're going to stop at Geelong. That's what they were saying. That was the code.
That was the way.
But then when they went into Geelong, they stopped and they went, man, this place is cool. And, you look at Geelong.
Work on your
I got to work on the
accent.
American accent. But the reality is Geelong's become an inner city. They've got a AFL side.
They've got the best of both worlds.
They've got the best of both
And
worlds.
have
but
you
they've
seen
also
the
got
infrastructure that they've been putting in?
Absolutely. And the infrastructure that they're going to bring in, that they're bringing in there, is what Frankston's coming. So this is where buyers see, it's important to understand going through, knowing what council, what planning and what all these people are doing. I know that they had the business council in Victoria, Melbourne, and there was a lot of talk about the certain high rise they're going to bring in, and the restrictions and lifting them off and making certain places where they could only go 2 stories now 4 stories. So these things play a big part, and where investors want to invest. And that's why I think Frankston was certainly targeted last year, because we saw, and it will still continue to be targeted, because I think there's still lots and lots of growth there.
Until I think once you've got like all those apartment buildings going in on the Pean Highway,
Yep.
I think that's creating a big emphasis. And they're doing a lot of targeting around interstate investment
Without
as well.
doubt, yeah.
But the hospital was such a big influence.
The Peninsula University Hospital, and you've got Monash University. It's the only, by the way, in Melbourne, the Royal Children's Hospital and RMIT, they have a gap of about a K and all those people from RMIT, they go and do, work experience at Royal Children's. Monash University is catered for, and it's the only two places in all of Melbourne. So that's why we're inundated with a lot of nurses, surgeons, doctors. So, we're getting a lot of good people coming into the area without doubt. And it's really important for you to know that, for those people that are looking at selling but also buying.
Moral of the story, guys, Frankston South is on the rise.
Absolutely.
If you're looking to sell, advertising is the hook. It's going to get the people to be eyeballs.
Yep.
Price guide gets them in. You want them to fall in love with it and then compete.
There's your audience.
Push. Yeah, it is. You can push and push and push. You want to, competition drives price.
Absolutely.
That is how you got to look at it. So, guys, we can't wait to see you in the next one. We're meant to have a guest on this week. We had to rain check, literally.
Rain check. Next week, he'll be on.
Yeah, next week he'll be on. But we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Love to, any comments, drop them in there, and we'd love to answer them. Chat to you soon.
Bye.
Stuff the ending.
That's all right.